treasure these guys found in the basement of the house is unbelievable. Today I'm going to tell the story of a crazy treasure that was found in Belgium and that could make some people multi-millionaires. And there's more. Maybe we have a similar treasure here at Manuel de Mundo. And yes, we're going to try to find it. Let's imagine you're an 18-year-old guy, a student, broke, and you got a side job as a construction worker to fix the sewer line of a 120-year-old house. So you're there, it's in Belgium, it's summer, it's hot, the place is stuffy, dark, full of dust. You're tearing pieces off the basement wall, and suddenly you see something kind of shiny. You get closer, and it's a coin. At first, it looks like a euro coin. You pick it up, and it's not quite that. A gold coin, almost pure. It was a coin practically identical to this one I have in my hand that a guy named Kobe found in Belgium last week. And this isn't just any coin. It's a sovereign, or gold sovereign. It's a coin that England started producing in 1817 and still produces today. Basically, on one side they all have a classic image of St. George slaying the dragon, and on the other, the person sitting on the throne of England, whoever it is, a queen, a king. On this coin, which is from 1964, the one here is Queen Elizabeth. This is a 22-carat coin. That means it has 92% gold, and the rest in this case is copper, because copper helps make the coin harder. Gold would be too soft. The coin couldn't hit anything without getting dented. It's very small. I'll put it next to a real coin so you can get an idea. Look, it's much smaller. But here you have 7.32 grams of pure gold. Considering that the price of gold per gram today, it's worth 735 reais. Jansen just said, wow, behind the camera. Let's see how much this coin is worth just for its gold weight, okay? Not counting the historical value of the coin. 5 reais. This little thing, smaller than a real coin, is worth more than $1,000. The concentration of value here is absurd. But at this point, I need to check. I borrowed this coin, and we don't know if it's real. We're gonna run a test at the end to find out if this is really gold. If there's more than $1,000 in this ridiculous little piece of metal here, okay, we get that the coin is really valuable. But is it worth all this fuss? That bricklayer kid from Belgium could buy, I don't know, an iPhone with this coin. But it's not gonna change his life forever. Yeah, not with just one coin like this. But Kobe kept digging. And then he found another coin. 2 more coins. 3, 4, 5. A handful of coins. Another handful of coins. And more handfuls of coins. It's getting hard to carry. Another one, another handful of coins. There came a time when he lost count. Kobe had found more than 4,000 gold coins just like this one. It was 32 kilos of gold coins. That's a lot. But it didn't stop there. He and his coworkers kept digging, of course. They started finding gold bars. Gold bars a little smaller than a cell phone. 1 kilo each. One here, 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, 14, 18, 23, 29, 32, 44, 48. 49 gold bars of about 1 kilo each. That's everything you're seeing in the photo. It was all hidden inside the wall of the basement of a house that was built in 1900 in Belgium. I spent a long time looking at these photos. One interesting thing is that you can see a notch on one of the bars. It was probably from a pickaxe hit. That bar took it. It must be pure gold. And from the photo, we get a sense of how soft this metal is if it's not alloyed with something else to make it stronger. Another thing I noticed here in the bucket with the coins, we can see the image of the dragon being slain by St. George. You can also see Queen Elizabeth's face, which means the coins are indeed from around that time. This indicates it's not a pirate treasure from the 1700s or something like that. Someone left it there around the 1960s. They weighed everything, and it came to 78 kilos, just so you have an idea. That's the weight of all these steel weight plates. That's just gold. The difference is that in their case, it takes up much less space because gold is extremely dense. Each liter of gold weighs 19.3 kilos. Calculating the volume here, it would be 4 liters and 40 milliliters. That's the equivalent volume. Look. Manuel de Mundo books. This much gold, 78 kilos. It's hard to grasp how big that number is. The World Cup trophy, which is famous for having a lot of gold, it has only 5 kilos of pure gold. But let's agree that this volume calculation is a pain to do, right? The cool part is finding out how much all this gold is worth. 78 kilos, or 78,000 grams of gold, times 735 reais. 57. 7,330,000. Reais. The construction workers basically hit the lottery. But not really. They called the police. That's right. According to Belgian law, if you find treasure on a property that isn't yours, you have to split the treasure with the owner of the property. But that's only if they don't find the rightful owner, right? Because who knows who hid that there? The current owner of the house is an NGO that helps people living on the streets, and the police already know they weren't the ones who hid the treasure. By the way, Jansen asked me why England produces this kind of coin, right? What's the point of a mint making a gold coin? It's not for everyday use, right? Is it for collecting? No. It's for a very safe long-term investment because think about it. It's worth about $1,000. If you take $1,000 now and hide it inside a wall to open it 30 years from now, probably in 30 years, inflation will have already eaten away at that money. It won't be worth nearly as much as it is today. Gold is different. It's been valuable for a very, very long time. And more than that, it usually increases in value. It tends to appreciate over time. So it's likely that this coin, 30 years from now, will be worth a little more than it is today. Maybe that's what the person who hid it inside the wall was thinking. I'll leave this gold here. I'll open it who knows when, and who knows what happened to the person. Did they die? Disappeared? Ran away? So according to Belgian rules, today nobody owns that pile of coins and gold bars. What are they going to do? They're going to wait 5 years to see if an owner shows up. And if no one does, then yes, the construction workers will get half, and the homeowner will get the other half. But hold on, don't go away because this is just the first part of the story. Some time ago, we needed to fix an outlet here at Manuel de Mundo. We opened the outlet, took off that plastic cover in front, the outlet plate, and behind it there was something strange. It was a kind of deep hole, and inside there was a little steel door. It was a safe. We didn't try to open it, because at the time, everyone found out and thought it would make an interesting video. But we didn't really know what story to tell in this video, since we had already opened a safe here at Manuel de Mundo and everything, until the story came up about that construction worker who found treasure in a wall in Belgium. And we thought, it's time to open this thing. What if we have some gold coins in there? And yes, that's exactly what we're going to do now. It's this outlet here. Look what happens when I open the outlet. I pull. There's something here, a box. And in the back, there's a safe. But now a question came up. If I find something in here, is it really mine? Brazilian law is very similar to Belgian law. Law number 10,406, January 10th, 2002, about finding treasure. There's a law about found treasures, isn't that crazy? Article 1264. The ancient deposit of precious things, hidden and whose owner is not remembered. Pay close attention to this part. Whose owner is not remembered. Meaning, we have no idea who the owner is. Will be equally divided between the owner of the property and the person who finds the treasure by chance. Exactly the situation in Belgium. Something old, valuable, whose owner is unknown. So if the owner isn't found, half goes to the property owner, half to the person who found it. The cameraman gets in on this. The cameraman doesn't get in, only the person who found it, Jansen. Yeah, no, he doesn't get in. In our case here, the Manuel de Mundo house is ours. So I'm the owner of the house. I don't have to split it with anyone. The problem is that this probably isn't an unknown treasure. That's safe. It was most likely installed by the person who owned the house before. So if I find something, I'll have to talk to the previous owner. It's pretty much the same situation as that construction worker. But that's okay, right? Rules are rules, and I'm curious to know what's inside. Well, let's start with the simplest thing, right? I'll try to use the screwdriver as a lever here. The door is kind of loose. I don't think this was made to be that secure. Man, it's gonna come off easily. Ooh. Yeah, I don't think we'll be able to use this thing again. Actually, it even smells kind of old here. I mangled it so badly that you can't even look inside. Oh my God. There's no gold coin here. There's still something hollow inside this wall. I'm not gonna rest until I finish, right? We stick our hand inside the wall like this, without knowing what's in there. The phone will see it before I do. Not this time. You know, I think they already used to sell this kind of safe to put in place of the outlet, right? It's exactly the size of an outlet cover plate, made to fit the wall's thickness. Interesting. If this were Gavita's video, Jansen would be saying that there would be a leave a like at the very bottom of the safe. Well, we didn't put that there, right? Because this is for real. In fact, I tried to open the safe without knowing what was inside. So if you could leave a like anyway, I'd appreciate it. And I prepared a series of tests. Look how cool. First, put it on the magnet. Gold with copper isn't attracted to the magnet. Euro coins stuck. Real coins stuck. The second test is the color. It has to be a gold coin with a bit of copper. So it has to be more reddish than pure gold. Yes, we have pure gold here to compare. I bought this back when I was making the perfect gold ball. These are extremely thin gold leaf sheets, okay? This is really cheap. Each little piece of gold leaf is probably worth about 2 reais nowadays. Because gold is a very malleable material, so you can make gold leaf so thin that they're practically worthless. But they're very beautiful. Here, look. Pure gold and theoretically a 22-karat gold alloy. The color is slightly different. Yes, it's not the same yellow, and that's exactly what was supposed to happen. And now it's stuck. Oh my God. Gold flying everywhere. Who would have thought? The next tests are very specific to this coin. Since it's a very famous coin that's been made for over 200 years, we have a lot of data about it. So I even found some tips on how to identify the sovereign. Here, one of them is the details. On real coins, the details of the horse's muscles, the rider's cape, and the dragon are extremely sharp. Let's start with the phone here. The horse's muscles look nice. The dragon is fancy too, and here St. George's cape is really cool. I can even see St. George's triceps here. There are even some pieces of gold left from the gold leaf we just touched. Let's check it under the microscope. It's really beautiful, huh? The horse's hooves, the dragon's wing. I think that's it, huh? The edge of the coin also has some really tiny and very symmetrical details. Everything is perfect. Let's see if this one has it. There are some little squares there that are really hard to fake. Really cool. Now is where things get tricky with these last 3 measurements. First, weight. A sovereign is supposed to have 7.98 grams. It can go down to 7.93, but not less than that. 2, 3, and 8 grams. 0.02 could be a margin of error from this scale here, right? It's not a super precise scale. It's showing exactly 8 grams. That's a good sign. If it were fake, but still made of gold, it would probably be lighter. But it could be made of a lower quality gold alloy, like 18-karat gold instead of 22. So we have to check the measurements. Because in that case, it would be a bulkier coin, right? A bigger coin, since to reach that weight, it would need to have a larger volume. Let's see. Theoretically, it should be 22.05 millimeters in diameter. Look, that's exactly what it's showing. As for thickness, it should be 0.52 millimeters. 0.5 and a little bit more. We're almost there. Let's go to the last and most important test of all. I know the density of this coin here, that is, how much mass it has for the space it occupies. Is 17.53 grams per cubic centimeter, or 17.53 grams for each milliliter of the coin. But it doesn't even have 17 grams. It has 7.98 grams. 7.98 divided by 17.53. It has to be 0.46 milliliters, or 0.46 cubic centimeters. Mathematically, I could get this measurement by measuring the coin with a caliper. The problem is that the coin is irregular. It has little indentations in it. It has the design. And all of that takes a little gold out of the coin. So I need a smarter way to measure the volume. The second way would be to put this inside a jar filled with water to the brim, and then I measure the volume of the water that overflows. That's how Archimedes measured things 500 years ago. 500 years? Wait a minute. This way of measuring the volume of things was discovered by Archimedes more than 2,000 years ago, precisely to measure whether the king's crown was really made of gold or not. But then there's a problem. This coin is so small that the surface tension of the water, right? That attraction that water has for itself, which forms that kind of film on top of the water, won't let me do the test. It's too little water that will come out. The margin of error would be huge. It's practically impossible to do this kind of test with a coin this size, but there is a similar way to test it that involves the story of Archimedes. Here on top of this scale, I have a beaker with water. I've already pressed the tare button here, so the scale is showing 0, okay? It's going to disregard the weight of the beaker and the water. If I drop the coin in here, just drop the coin into the water. The weight of the coin will show up here on the scale. There's no difference whether there's water or not. Now, if I hang the coin on a string and lower the coin into the water, nothing will spill, okay? The coin will just go into the water. This scale is going to show something. And do you know what it's going to show? It's going to show the amount of water that had to be displaced, that had to move aside for the coin to go in. So the weight that's going to be shown here will be exactly the space that the coin occupies. Because water has a gram for every cubic centimeter. So if there's a gram of water that was displaced, I know the coin has a cubic centimeter. If there are 0.46 milliliters of water that were displaced, I know that this coin has exactly 0.46 milliliters of volume. Jansen is complaining back there, behind the camera, saying, this coin isn't going to touch the bottom, so how is it weighing anything? The thing is, Jansen, when I put the coin in, the water level rises, right? For the water to rise, it pushes up from underneath, right? Yeah, there's no way around it. It has to push. It's like when you go upstairs, you press down on the step below. It seems like this force, where does it act? On top of the scale. So at the moment the water level rises, it pushes a little more on the scale, and then the scale can register that. And it shows exactly how much the water level rose. And how much the water rose is proportional to the volume of the coin. This test is really cool, right? As far as I know, that's not what Archimedes did. What Archimedes did was measure the water that overflowed from the container. But also, Archimedes didn't have a precision scale at that time, right? So I don't know who invented this way of testing. I just know that the string will interfere a little, but I think we can get some interesting results. I'm trusting the reeded edge here because it's what's going to have to hold this coin because it's almost impossible. It has to be 0.46. Look, as I put it in, the displaced water is already showing there, 0.45. It recorded 0.46. In short, the coin is probably real. The boy from Belgium will have to wait 5 years, and we were just left wanting, but at least we learned something. A question that might have come up in your mind during this video is, why is gold so valuable? And if I answered it in a previous video, I'm leaving the link there, all right?